Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.
What's up, gang? Welcome to the G.R.I.N.D. Simon Arias here. Get ready, it's a new day.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the G.R.I.N.D. Alyssa, Weston here. I'm here with Justin Adams. We're sitting in this week for Simon and Perm. As we're filming this, Simon recently had his third baby Enzo.
Yes.
So congratulations to Simon and Natalie.
Congrats. Number 3, now you're in my category. 3 is a game changer, so good luck, but I know you don't need it, but 3 is definitely a game changer. Congrats.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm part of Arias's media team, so it's my first time on the G.R.I.N.D. Justin is not new to the G.R.I.N.D, however.
First time.
I know.
Rookie. I like it.
Rookie, little nervous, hoping to do Simon proud, but I think we're going to have fun and kill it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. You're awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, so, what we're going to do is kind of talk to you, Justin, about, your Arias journey, really, because I think something super interesting about you is that not only are you president of the company, someone top leadership, but you're one of the few people here who actually grew up with Simon.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I got to meet Simon when I was 12 years old. And I think God put us, together, to know each other. My last name is Adams. His is Arias. So we had to sit next to each other at every class.
Oh, really?
I was in front. He was behind me. And he was a jokester, at that time. And he wasn't the person that he is now. Everybody loves. I mean, people loved him back then also, but for different, reasons. And, he was a jokester. He used to color in. I have a scar on the back of my head. He used to color that in when he wasn't paying attention, to class. And also one thing that people don't know is, he used to copy off me, everything that he did. And now I copy off him, which is the roles are reversed now because he's had so much success. I copy off him. So it's funny and it's awesome to see, him grow, in life because I've known him since I was 12 years old. And now being a professional with him, it's awesome to see, what really can happen when you put your mind to it and you really want something very as bad as Simon does.
Yeah, and I know a huge part of our business is that business athlete mentality. I know that the two of you played football together. So talk to me a little bit about that and, kind of the traits from sports that you now see in the two of you reflected into business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sports is a big thing. I think sports, got us together, first off, because that's when I met him on the football field before we even, were in school. And, when you look at sports and that business athlete, we've just really put that back into the business. And I think one of the biggest traits, and Simon was always, a vocal leader. He was always that person that, said what he was going to do and then he backed it up. I was always that non-vocal leader where I just did things, and wanted the team to see how hard I was working. So I was never really a vocal leader. I think that's why we really do well together because we know our place. He was the more rah-rah guy, but I was the guy that just got the job done. If the coach said, do this, I was there. I was somebody that the coach can always depend on. And, as a leader and as a business athlete, when your number's called upon, you have to perform. So I think that's one of the biggest things about business athletes that, we like people that can perform at a high level, but also we like people that have discipline. Being an athlete, you have to have a ton of discipline because you're going to school, which a lot of times people are just going to school so they can play football. But you have to have the discipline in order to have the grades in order to even play any sport. So I think it teaches people a lot of discipline. And I think once you put that discipline into an arena like American Income, something professional, you can really do things that are great. So I think discipline is huge. Thing. I think another thing sports also allows people to do is understand that you're not always going to win. You're going to lose at some point in time, even though, our state championship team, when we were seniors, we went 14-1. And I think if we wouldn't have got that loss in the middle of the season, which everybody wanted to win, we might not have won the state championship. So we learned, that you're not always going to win. We learned the value of teamwork as well because, it's a team sport. Football is. Baseball is a team sport. Basketball is a team sport. There's not too many sports out there that are just individualized sports. Even if you look at something like golf, I feel like you have a caddy. I feel like you have a coach that's helping you out. Yeah, you might be doing it on your own when you're golfing, but behind the scenes, there's a lot that goes into it. So I think you learn teamwork, camaraderie, but at the end of the day, discipline is a huge factor in our business. And then you can't forget about being competitive. Competitiveness is huge in our business. And you get that from sports because, why play the game? Why do they even have score? If they didn't have score, if it didn't matter who won, then they wouldn't keep score. And that's the reason why they keep score in sports, because you got to be competitive. And also a reason why we keep, the scoreboard in American Income is because we want people to be competitive as well. So I think that, is really helped us in the business. And that's why we like a lot of athletes, because they're able to juggle a lot of different things, be disciplined, be competitive, but also have that team atmosphere as well.
Yeah, definitely. And something I've noticed with leaders is a lot of them, things are learned, but there's also, in most cases, a lot of talent and a lot of natural ability. So as someone who's known Simon for a while, what do you think are some of those traits that are, from the start talent that you've seen since you were little, but also kind of being, someone in the business with him for so long? What have you also seen him grow into as a businessman?
Yeah, I think, talent's huge. Without talent, you can't really do too much. And I think some of the talent things that he really had is, growing up, he had a knack to bring people together. He really had a knack to, if he saw people that were talented also, he can bring them together. He also had a niche that he could, if somebody wasn't doing well, he could talk to them and get them to understand their role in the economy, their role inside sports, their role inside this agency. And I think he really had that big. He had the eye of the tiger as well. A lot of people, like to win, but he hated to lose. And he would go at all costs to win, as long as it was ethically, as long as it was morally. There was instances where he wasn't starting in football, and he knew that he should start. And he wasn't afraid to go up to the coach and just say, hey, give me a shot. He wasn't afraid to do some of the dirty work, like special teams, in order to get a shot as well, because he just wanted to actually be on the field. He actually wanted to contribute. And if he wasn't contributing, he would find a way to contribute. Either that's talking to the coach, either that's, showing up first, in the weight room, showing up first in practice. So I think he always had that talent piece where he knew that if he worked very hard, he always had a work ethic that was like no other. So he knew if he could work hard, he would get rewards at the end of the day. Something that I've been able to see him grow into in American Income is his faith. He hasn't always had the faith that he has now. Shout out to Jim Surace. Shout out to Marcus Smith. These were people that he met early on in his career, and I thank those guys so much because they were able to grow his faith. I was always a person that had, good faith from losing my mother at a very young age when I was 12 years old. So I always had that faith component, but Simon didn't always have that. And a lot of people see him now and they see that component of him and they're like, wow, it's a complete night and day, because he was off sometimes doing the wrong things. But I always look at people, if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, I always think about the influence that you make, and if we can just turn that influence, rather if it is negative, if we can just turn it positive, I know good things are going to happen. So I've seen him grow within that faith, component very much. Now he helps out people, that are in their walk with God. I would have never thought that growing up, but I saw that grow a lot, in this business. Another thing that I saw, grow a lot in this business is when he had a child. His first child, Sienna, Capri. I saw him now be just calm down a little bit. He was always the rah guy. You can't do this, you can't do that. But I saw him being able to. It's kind of hard to explain, but I saw like a different side in him. Now a more loving side. He was able to, relate to a lot more people that had children by being a dad. He was able to see what that other person's going through, rather if they had a child or maybe if they were just going through something, because I feel like it calmed him down a little bit and made him at ease, just because of having a daughter is a totally different mind schedule. I've got 3 of them, so I've had 3 times to be able to do this, and I know we just had a boy, but having that daughter and just her loving on you, her, you being her guardian. I think that not softened him up a little bit, but made him calm down as a human being and understand, I think what life is all about. And I love that version of him, and I think it's able to help a lot more people. But the faith component was for sure, something that I've been able to see him grow within American Income. Shout out again to Marcus and Jim.
I want to kind of shift gears to your Arias agency's journey because, I know that it wasn't your initial out of college experience.
No.
Tell me about, your career here and how you've kind of grown into the position you have now.
Yeah. I never wanted to come to American Income. My dad never wanted me to come to American Income. People just see me now and they're like, you wanted to come here? Simon was here. He hooked you up. No, I had no intention at all of coming to American Income. I was the person that when Simon got the job, people were calling me up because we had an influence at Mercier's, and they said he's going to make $100,000. Is he really going to do this? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm making $30,000 as a stockbroker, Series 7, 66, 31, all these licenses and these designations, and I'm making $30,000. The next year I made about $75,000. In my third year I made $150,000. But I was always going to just manage Simon's money. I wanted to be a hedge fund guy where they made a lot of money, being able to, and it's not really all about the money, but when you're young, understand, 22 years old, right out of school, no kids, no family, that's really all that you think about. You want to make a name for yourself. And I said, I'm just going to invest your money, which I started doing, and invest other people's money with you. And I'm never going to come though. And I made a statement to him as we were driving up to Chicago to see one of our other roommates, who I think we're going to have on the podcast here soon, Jason Staley. Shout out to Jason. His brother just got the head coaching job for the LA Rams. Shout out to Brandon Staley. Great job, man. Phenomenal job. And we were going to visit him, and Jeff Thiel was in the car, and I said, you know what? I know your script, because when I used to go visit Simon, I would go out in the field with him. We didn't go hang out at the bars and stuff like that. Like, he was working on Saturdays. I was coming. I had to go out on appointments with him. So I said, I know your script. I got a photographic memory. I'll know it by the time we get to Chicago. And I knew it. And I told him, I said, if you ever start your own agency, I said, I'll come. I said, that will be the only way that I'll come. And I thought he would never do this. So he called me up and said, I'm starting up my own agency. You told me that you would come. You can't be, you can't be a hypocrite. I'm like, oh, I did tell you that. So we started in March, and I came in November of 2008, and the rest was history. I strived to be a top producer when I first came, and I was able to do that. I was number 2 in the entire company in December, which is a month that is hard. I made convention that year. Within 6 months, I was an MGA. I moved to State College, and then I moved to Erie, and this was 2 moves within like 2 months. But all I wanted to do was be successful. From there, Erie was doing phenomenal. I was working very hard. Again, made $150,000 that year. And then I moved back to Pittsburgh. Simon wanted me a little bit closer to him. So I moved back to Pittsburgh. But when I got there, I had to go to West Virginia. And if you know, I had never been to West Virginia in my life, but I trust Simon. I've known him since I was 12. And he said, when opportunity knocks, you got to go and pack your bags. West Virginia doesn't have any black people there at all. I'm going to call a spade a spade.
Right.
No black people at all in West Virginia. And I didn't move there. I lived there in a hotel. So some people think they have it hard. I lived in a Red Roof Inn, not a Hampton, not a Hilton Express, a Red Roof Inn. From Monday, I would get up, and I still had a place in Pittsburgh. Monday, I would get up, drive 2 hours to Clarksburg, West Virginia, and stay in a Red Roof Inn from Monday. Then I would come back on Friday. And I had a girlfriend at that time, and I did this for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And then after 6 months, we closed the office. So talk about, like adversity, striking. I lost all my agents, everything. There was no virtual, no nothing, lost everybody. And I did that for 6 months. But I learned so much in that process, that because my dad, when I was young, he used to drive from Youngstown to Warren every day. 30 minutes. So I said, why wouldn't I drive another hour and a half? And I'm probably going to double or triple his income. Nothing against him. But again, I was just thinking about that. And then, you know, from there that year, when I got back, that's when the company gave us Maryland. And when they gave us Maryland, we were able to send out a team that was like the dream team, you know, at that time. You know, Aaron Haynes, Cam Semino, Dan Nebraski, and with those guys' help, that year we were the number 5. We should have been the number 1, but I had to promote somebody. But we were the number 5, you know, MJ team in the world. There wasn't categories. There was just straight production. And that started our journey, you know, on to, you know, making a name in American Income. The next year, my daughter was born, Camia Adams, and we went through a couple ups. We went through a couple downs. But I feel like we went through those due to some of the things that I was doing. But also, I feel like, you know, I needed to show people that it's not always going to be ups. You know, it's always going to be some downs. And if you never have the downs, you can't coach people on the downs. You can't. Like, if you've never lost a loved one, it's hard for you to coach somebody on losing a loved one. So I cherish those downs. I didn't like them when they were there. But now I look back and I'm like, I'm glad I went through that. I'm glad the office did close down. I'm glad I lost some of my top players. And then we were on the way up. Last year was our best year at American Income. Shout out to all my MGAs and my GAs, my RGAs. Phenomenal year. We opened up more offices. And I think what happened is I started to put more people first. You know, God brought Greg Rudolph into my life. You know, Steve Dale into my life. You know, some of these people that were able just to take the bull by the horn and run with it. And I didn't have to micromanage them. So I put a lot of emphasis on them, Jason Bratton, Chuck Ferraris, all these guys. And, you know, putting people first, you know, really got us back to where we're at. And now I think it's going to get us now to that next level because we're trying to double up as an organization. And, you know, if you don't have a love for people, then you should not get into leadership at all. You know, a lot of people get in it for the money at first, you know, but now it's more about loving people. So when people call you, do you get excited or do you like, another person I got to deal with? No, you got to have a love for people and people need you in this world. So I think, you know, at American Income, it showed me the last few years that, you know, when you put people first, anything can happen, anything.
I mean, as you were talking, it's just crazy to me. You know, a lot of people don't come to this opportunity from a 6-figure job.
Right.
You know, what was it like to take a leap of faith? And then, you know, I didn't realize the whole West Virginia story and everything else that kind of came after. You know, what advice would you have for people taking a leap of faith? Because although some people aren't coming from a 6-figure job, they might be moving across the country or, you know, whatever their situation might be.
I'll tell you what's scary. You know, my dad told me I was crazy. I didn't talk to him for a long time. My family members told me I was crazy as well. And what I would tell you is that you got to have confidence in yourself. You know, if you have confidence in yourself, everything is going to end up. And if you know that you're a hard worker and you know that you can put in the time and the effort that it takes and understand if it's going to come quick, don't do it at all. But as long as you're disciplined and you know what you want, and the other thing I'll tell people is you have to start with the end in mind. You know, the biggest thing that I thought about when I switched is when I was a stockbroker, I saw people around that were in their 60s and they were still working. And I thought to myself, I really don't want to be 60 and still working. My dad retired when he was 55, and he retired when he was 55 because he was getting looked over by promotions. Because a lot of times in corporate America, when you turn 55, even 45, you know, they're not going to want to give you the promotion that you deserve because they want to give it to the young person that's probably a little bit more hungry. They don't have a lot of, I wouldn't say baggage, but they don't have kids, you know, family, but they want that hungry entrepreneur. So he was getting looked over by, and he was more qualified than them not. So, you know, that's what was in my mind. I said, I didn't want to work till I'm 55 or 60. And they kept talking about these renewals. You know, the renewals. And if you do 10 years, you can retire and still keep your residual income. So in my mind, you know, when I switched, I said, guess what? I'm going to give this thing probably 2 years to see if it can work. But I'm not going to limit myself, but I want to see what these renewals are all about. You know, and I started with the end in mind. And then once I've been here for a year, that 2-year thing went away. You know, now it was just a race to get to 10 years. And now I hit my 10 years. Now it's a race to get to 20 years and see who I can help. But it was a big risk to go away from a 6-figure career. but I would rather bet on myself than bet on a company. And I always knew what I could bring to the table as long as I worked hard and I was disciplined. So I would say if you're looking to that you want more for yourself, I looked at my future family because I was young at that time. I was only 25 when I started. I'm an old man now, 37, about to be 38 next month. But, I just looked at I don't have that much time to figure this out. Because once kids come into the equation, kids aren't bad, but they change up everything. They change up the amount of sleep that you're going to get. They change up maybe the amount of time that you can grind for because you want to spend some time with them or whatnot. So, in my mind, I was thinking I probably got about a 5-year time frame before my first child comes, and it was 5 years, before Camia came. And I wanted to find something that I could grow in, but also somewhere that respected me. And the harder that I worked, the more income that I made. In corporate America, it's not like that. You can work very hard, but you're still going to get the same amount of money. And I always wanted to be in business for myself, but not by myself. So those are things I looked at, and I wasn't afraid to make that jump, but it was scary at first. But I knew if I put my time and my effort into it, and I was working 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week, I knew good things would happen.
Yeah. It's funny that I have the chance to talk to you because, as you know, my role here is to interview people, talk to them about their milestones within the agency. But something really interesting lately is I got to talk to your wife, Tyler.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, which I don't get a chance to talk to spouses as much. So, and we chatted, and something I didn't realize was the two of you met through here.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about, relationship in the business. Although she's not here now, I know she understands the grind and everything. Yeah. So, give us some advice for married couples and keeping that communication open and everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not the best at it, but I'm working at it all the time. It clicked for us just because, you're around the people that you work with, all the time, especially back in the day. You're around them 100%. And I feel like if you pick somebody that you work with, I feel like it's got to be a long-term solution because, if it's not long-term, it can mess up that business relationship big time. And, I think why we work a lot is because I try to stay even keel. I try to, we do a lot of mentoring stuff. I listen to a lot of Jimmy Evans, which is a pastor. I listen to a lot of, marriage stuff because I want to make sure our marriage is right. But I think the biggest marriage advice that I can give people is, you got to take some time and you got to go on a date night. Date nights are very big. I think this Thursday, we're gonna go from like 4 to 7, and we're gonna go to Morton's, steakhouse. Not gonna have any phones around. We're just gonna talk. We're gonna talk about what's going on in our kids' lives. Talk what's going on in our relationship. What do we need to work on? What do we don't? And a lot of times, us as men, here's what happens. And this is not me. This is just all the stuff I've learned, by being married. I believe this is going on my 5th year of marriage. Is us as men, we want to be fixers. We want to fix everything. If women have a problem, we want to fix it. But what I found out is that, we don't need to always be fixers. Sometimes we just need to be listeners. It's something that they don't want you to fix. They just want you to listen.
True. Very true.
And a lot of times, especially if you're with them all day at work and now you're trying to fix everything at work and then you try to fix everything at home, it doesn't work out because now you bring that home. So my advice to, a lot of men would be just listen. And at the end of you listening, just ask, the young lady or your wife, just ask, is this something that you want me to fix? Or is this just something that you wanted me to listen to? And watch what happens. Watch what happens. And the other thing that Jimmy Evans always says is help them out with something that they can't do by themselves. He always says sometimes you might have to clean up, the house. You might be one day from cleaning up the house away from having a happy marriage, he always says, because women like the homes clean. So try to help her out, around the house by cleaning up, and then understand, try not to go to sleep upset or mad ever. And keep the Lord. If you're a believer, keep the Lord at the beginning of your life, and beginning of your marriage and your relationship. And good things are going to happen. But that date night is huge because it's just you and them. and all they want is your time. All they want is you to listen to them. And, if you are working with them, understand that sometimes you got to turn it off a little bit, and understand that, this is your significant other. And if rough times come, a great book to read, I feel, is it's the love languages, the 5 love languages. I forget who the author is, but it's an awesome book because, there's 5 love languages, and sometimes you just got to know what their love language is. So you can speak that into them. Like if they like gifts, then you might have to get them a gift every once in a while. If it's personal touch, you might have to rub their back a little bit sometimes. If it's quality time, then you got to spend some quality time. I know my wife's is quality time. So I try to make sure we have quality time. If that's us getting our feet done, pedi manicure, whatever that stuff is called, we do that. Movies, massages, but I try to always do some quality time.
This is going to be such a big growth year for our company. I know you personally. One thing I saw that I was excited for was Inspiring Minds growing. I know you're on the Youngstown board. Pittsburgh is starting up. I know Simon will probably talk on that more, but I know you recently kind of got together with other board members. What can you tell us a little bit about Inspiring Minds Pittsburgh to kind of get us excited for what's coming?
Oh, yes. I mean, we've been waiting on this for a long time. Inspiring Minds Pittsburgh, I'm on the board as well there. And we have a all-star lineup that is just ready to help children in this area. It's going to be an extension of the one in Warren that Derek Toll started up, that we had in Youngstown. We're not on that Youngstown board anymore. Youngstown and Warren merged together. But Derek also has one in Philadelphia, and we're going to start here in Pittsburgh pretty soon. We have a cigar event coming up, hopefully, so people can join that. We got Ryan Shazier going to be there. We got Jim Trussell going to be there and a couple other people. And we're going to start off at Still Rocks High School. And because of COVID, we're going to start with about 10 children and just trying to help them out. We have the help and the support of Sam Weaver, who's a longtime friend of Simon. Simon has been helping out, Sam as well. He's the principal at Still Rocks High School, and they've provided us. We just came from a school board meeting, and they were ecstatic. They want us in the school board because they have no after-school kids program right now. Oh, wow. At about 3 or 4 o'clock, the school is shut down, and they have nothing. So, they've allowed us to be able to be in the school, which is phenomenal. That the 2 biggest things that usually we have trouble with is location, where we're going to have it at, and then food. So to have a location and we have the whole school at our disposal is going to be very, very, very big. And our mission is just to help children. A lot of children don't have role models. We want to help them with their homework, expose them to businesses like Josh Otamick. He's a real estate developer. Emery Bassman, I think he was on the podcast from Armina Stone. Ryan Shazier, is on our board, ex-Pittsburgh Steeler. And we just want to be able to show people, and show these kids like what is possible. Because growing up, we didn't know about businesses. We didn't know about being a professional athlete. We didn't know any of this stuff. So we're very excited to, have our first, 10 children from the Still Rocks High School. And we have a female, they were very excited with Tika Hemingway is on the board as well, because they said the females, it's a lot of challenges from the females. A lot of these kids have, one parent. So when they get home, they might not have food. They might not have supervision. They might not even have, just a house that they can be in with good role models. So we're really excited about this. Hopefully people can jump on the bandwagon, help us out with fundraising, because, we're looking for grants. We're looking for a lot of different things. We got some things in motion, but we're excited about, Inspiring Minds Pittsburgh. We think it's going to be a big hit. We're starting small, and I know for a fact it's going to, start to jump here pretty soon.
So to close us out, Justin, can you give us a little motivation to end the day with? Wow.
I mean, motivation, I feel like is overrated, because, motivation really doesn't last. You can watch this podcast and then, go away, then the next day comes and a lot of things are going to get hit, are going to hit you. I always say you want to believe in 3 things. CPR. I feel like CPR, the C stands for consistency. You know, you got to be consistent with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions, with everything that you're doing. You got to stay consistent. So many people will start and then they stop, almost like the gym thing. We're in January, right? People start, but then they stop. The P stands for patience. You got to be patient. We live in a society where you want things right now. You know, so a lot of people aren't patient in their thoughts, and they're not patient. They want things right now. Stay patient. Your time will come. And then the R stands for resiliency. You know, when you get knocked down, can you come back? If you tear your ACL, can you come back from that injury? If you get 10 no's, can you keep going? You got to be able to stay resistant, because the only thing that happens is you're getting better. You know what I mean? It might not just be your time yet, but you got to be able to breathe success into your life. And I think you do that by CPR, staying consistent, being patient, and then being resilient. And that's what I would give everybody.
Thank you so much for being here and, pouring into us today. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have a great day.
Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.